Hi, my name is Phúc. I work as senior product owners for online solution at Live Payments, which I will introduce you a bit later. For today contents, the topic today will be how to achieve alignments across diverse team and culture with some tip and trick. So let's start with some information about my company Live Payments. So you can see about the diversity in my company's culture. About Live Payments. Live Payment established in 2006 in Australia. Live Payments build and provide payment solution for SME and the taxi industry. Just for your record, all the opinions and thought expressed in this material are solely mine and do not necessarily reflect the option and the belief of my company. Some statistics about Live Payments. Live Payment have a national presence and operation over 16 years. We process 1 million transactions per month and processing 1.5 billion transactions per annum. We operating over 10,000 payment devices like EPOS machines in Australian market. We also do some lending, and we originated up to now it's 200 millions for SME business. About our company global presence, we are Australian national presence operating in Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, and Perth. We also have global offices in Clark, the Philippines, where we have the customer service team, the sales team, finance and application team. We also have an office in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, where our IT development team's based. For me, I am an SPO for online solution and I work 100% remotely in Hanoi, Vietnam, 2,000 kilometers from Ho Chi Minh City. Next session is, you know that remote working with diverse cultures sounds very challenging. Why? Because we have a different time zone, we have a different culture, we have a different market practice, and even the definition of success is different. That led to the very big question how to make a good cooperation. Then here are some tips and tricks for you to quick onboarding to a new company. Tip number 1, know your partner's culture. Let's start with some thing that you should never miss. Number 1, the time zone. Number 2 is the holidays. The public holidays of each country. And number 3 is what to do and not to do in each country. Like some religions have some taboo or something you need to learn and to avoid those things. That is to know, and then what is to do. Yes, let us set up your calendar with all the time zone and holiday accordingly. I will show you how. Trick number 1, time zone. Add time zone to your Microsoft Outlook calendar apps. Everyone use that tool, and then try to book recurring meeting in advance so you can avoid the inability of your partner. For me, I at the holiday, I at the time zone. I at the time zone for Hanoi, Sydney, and Malaysia. So I know that I should never book a meeting somewhere at 9 a.m. Vietnam time because it's a lunch time in Sydney, so everyone tired at this time. That is a good example. For non-recurring meeting and with so much differences in time zone, you can use the same, but there are some tools just in case you don't use Microsoft Office, like you can Google time zone meeting planner. You can see that to my right hand, the red one is not the good one, right? So the green one and the yellow one is sometimes that fit to everyone. So those online tools are very helpful. Let's go to trick number 2, holiday. Okay, so just simply add your holidays for your own country related to your works into your Microsoft calendar. You go to the calendar and simply choose the country, and you see in my example, I can see that, hey, this is the holiday in Australia and this is a holiday in Vietnam, for example. So maybe people is not in the office, will be at home for celebrating with their family, so do not book meeting on those days. The other thing is you should remember to learn and share the meaning of each holiday to your colleagues. So you can, I learn about your culture, so that's a good start for the relationship building. Let's go to tip number 2, align the way of working. Yeah, align the way of working. This is very big topic. So every culture, every company have a different way of working. Number 1, company vision and target customer. Why is it important? Company vision, you should know where the market share that your company focus on, and is it SME customer or retail customer or some priorities segments customer. So this is very important because everyone should share the same vision and share the same view on where the market share and targeted customer. So that lead to the same understanding. Otherwise, everyone thinks in very different ways, and the way you make a decision on any solution is very. Number 2 is about role and responsibility within the company. Yeah. So this means who that what in an organization, right? It sounds very simple and seem not a big deal, right? However, in the world, agile adoption are very high and increasing nice now. The company structure and role responsibility becomes slowly and vary. For some other case, I see that for very complex structure, it's very hard to remember who does what. So think very normal, like who that what and who I should talk to when I need. So why I need that person's decision or advice on a solution. It takes a lot of time when you first come to a company, and you should know and you should never forget, because when your output, your product, your solution go to market, everyone will use your solution, right? For example, you are an IT developer, you make a solution, and then some staff in the operation team will use that. So without knowing that there's some advice from operation team, there's might be some defect on your solution that you are not aware. The third one is the success metric. Success metric. Yeah, again, when after you know the company vision, you know who the what in your company, and the next thing you should know is understanding stakeholders' expectations. So CEO might think about the market share, CFO might think about the incomes and costs, or someone like a COO cares about how to operate successfully and effectively. So each stakeholder has a different expectation, and this varies from each company. So you have to know those things when you create some new solution. The next one is about finalization of the project. Why I'm not talking about delivering? Because one of the reasons why is because everyone talking about the delivering a project, how to do that, the PMP or Agile, so many methodology. But I see in practice the finalization of a project, like to review it, why we success, why we delay sometimes, and what is the key learning and how to share it with other project team. It's normally at the end of the project where everyone is tired and it's take less attention. So the learning of those projects is very helpful for the company to grow better. So finalization of the project or even some close of the previous course, you can learn a lot from that. Like learning the expectation of each stakeholder, for example. Yeah, success metric meaning the KPI, OKR, and other important metric. So it depends, right? For a startup, maybe at the very beginning, you cannot expect a big revenue or big income. So it's somewhere maybe the market share is a biggest target. So to know and to achieve this is very important to know. What to do? Okay. Like the way working meaning for me is number one is to listen, respect, and share differences. You cannot know anyone from different culture or country, therefore from different country in one day, right? Because simply that is not the environment you live. So number one, try to listen to any differences that your colleagues share and respect for the differences. And even after that, we can share, hey, this is my thinking, why do this is market, why success in my market, and let's talk about how to together close the differences and reach agreement. To do that, number one, you should have some rule. You should have some rule. Like the way working, meaning that you have some basic rule first. Don't create massified to not create complicated rules. So, for example, a very simple rule like no meeting during lunchtime or holiday, of course, right? The second one is try to keep the meeting short and maximum 60 minutes. Typically 30 minutes make everyone rush, and it's a very good meeting. 30 minutes, I feel very good meeting. And the last one is for agile working, we have a retrospective session. So anything you together agree on those sessions, I call it agree rules. Right? Any other agree rule following the retrospective session, advice to follow. So let's go to trick number 3. Organization chart. This is an illustration of my extended screen where I take a screenshot of the very big structure. So this is just for your information. This is of course not my real company structure. So this is just a picture, but this is will show you how convenient it is, right? For example, you can work in one computer, and for the extended, you can just put it in the background, so it will not take you time to find that photo in your document. So that is my trick, and I feel it's very useful to remember everyone, and even someone you seldom talk to. Next, okay. As the world's adoption is increasing, company structure and role responsibility become unique. For this, I mean, from my experience, I see that each company have a very unique role and responsibility. Even we call it the same title like product owner, but the definition of product owner in each company is a little bit different from the other. Yeah, the following case in my current company, and it is 100% different from my previous place. Even though we both adopt the agile approach, even if we both adopt the agile approach. Yeah. Just for your information, I'm working for Live Payment now, and my previous position is in three other banks with my 15 years earlier. So I see so many differences. Okay, so this is the introduction, the suggestions for product management. Okay, at the top you can have product director, PD meaning product director. So product director will be in charge of business objective. That means all the activity that facilitate alignment of priority and goals. So some highlight is overarching goals, high-level priority, and initiative roadmap. The second role is product manager. Product manager, PM, is not project manager, just for your information. Product manager will be in charge for product strategy, and he or she will provide a clear plan for Live Payment is my company to reach its goal. Product manager will be the owner of product vision and mission. Persona, of course, persona should be based on your target customer, not the persona of the whole world or the whole market. Right? The product metric, like for example, the success metric and the product roadmap. The third role is a product owner. The product owner is someone focused on delivery. Delivery means to drive and support in delivering values to customer. You can ask me, hey, this is product management, so why it's not delivering the product to your customer, right? Yeah, that should be a very good question, because now in the new modern world, what we want to do is not selling what we have, we're selling what meaningful to customer. So what the most meaningful to customer, we call it the value, right? The product owner typically managing the product backlog, design experience, feature roadmap, release planning, and agile delivery. So you can see this is the whole product management life cycle. Product framing, create a vision, identify problem and define success. Research, design, pilot, launch, and measure. So this is a very classic product management life cycle. You can see to the left is some of the detailed work for the product manager. On the right is some detailed work for the product owner. For example, product manager when they do the goal orientation product roadmap, like this one, they name goal feature metric and do some SWOT analytics or some FDVs analytic, which I will talk about this in detail later. To the right, as you can see the roadmap. Like for example, this is an agile map. You can go up and down, do some enhancement or new feature. Yeah, product owner. Yeah, everyone talking about sprint, and yes, it's a product owner role to monitoring the burnout chart. For example, my burnout chart look very good, right? To the left. So product owner will be the one who manage all the release, matching with the product roadmap. In terms of the timeline, anything priorities with the backlog with less than 3 months fall to the product owner. Anything for maybe 3 or maybe not typical or 6 months, from 6 months, half a year. Priority for 6 months and longer will be the role of product manager. How the other question I often being asked by my colleagues is how the PO and PM work together. So the product director often have a schedule sync up with the PM and PO, but PM and PO often works back to back in sprint and iteration. Some company use iteration as a 1 month consisting of 2 sprint, or some with a larger a sprint typically 2 weeks. So product manager should know what to do, and what of course he focus on the goal. Hey, after the 2 weeks work, any goals reached, or we need to wait for 6 weeks, meaning 3 sprint, for example. Product owner will be the one who makes sure the delivery will be on time and the outcome will reach the value that designed for. So, okay, that's in general information. So let's go to trick number 4. I hope you can apply this. So set up rule and agreement. Yeah. Before doing that, please keep in mind that this agreement naturally comes first until your team reach an agreement. And it often takes a lot of time to reach an agreement. Across all the company I work for, this agreement, naturally comes first. I see it all the time. So the trick is, instead of trying to protect you, to protect your idea, so the trick is to drive your team to share and agree on any principle and common rule first. Because if you are not in the same criteria, there is no talk. Okay? Then the whole team use the principle or rules to review the disagreement and all the alternative together. Okay. With the note that instead of trying to prevent your idea or your solution, or try to find the weakness of others' option only, and do not try to allow one specialist to ignore the wisdom of the team. Right? For example, CFO said like this. For example, COO one like this. For example, Chief Risk Officer one something. Okay. Just bring up. Okay, what is the principle? What is the common rule? We should set up those things. Otherwise, it's very hard to reach an agreement. I just want to ask you a question for thinking. Number 1, have you ever heard a question like, within your team, some might say, why would we do this? Or some might say, why was it so urgent, or why it's so high priority? I don't think so. I think the other thing is more high priority. The other might say, why not another workaround? This solution is very hard to achieve, something like that. And the others say, hey, can we make it on time? Some say, I think I can develop it, but the others say, maybe you can do, but the testing is longer. So a lot of these agreements from X person's view. So there should be some condition. For example, maybe a developer say, hey, it's easy, I can make it 5-day work, it will be finished. But a tester might say, hey, if you finish after 5 days, I cannot finish the testing. You should finish in 4 days only. That's the maximum time I can afford, for example. So number 1 is to not protect your idea only, to share the principle and common rule. You will ask me how. Okay, so to make rule and agreement work, I mean it, to make rules and agreement will be easily applied to save discussion times. And here are some suggestions how to do those. In my product owner life, I see define the priority is something that a lot of arguments. So today I will bring this to the discussion. Defining priority. So number one, you should agree on a set of criteria and priority based on the impact or output. It is backlog about the legal and compliance. It should be number one, right? The company should not be fined for some incompliant things. Number two is business continuity. So, for example, if you don't do this, the whole business stop. For example, some contract expire, you need to replace it with new one, new solution when take over the old one. So those backlog should be number two priority. Number three, yes, we're living in a modern world where the customer at the center of all the plan. So the customer satisfaction should be number three, very high level. The other thing is about the technical enhancement and system stability. For example, without some upgrade, some of your customer might not be able to use the solution anymore. For example, you have some minimum requirement from Google or Apple, right? You need to update it, otherwise your app will not be posted on the App Store, for example. So that is something you should be mindful. Or sometimes you see that there's some outage with your system stability, so you should not let it happen for so long. Number five, business growth plan or something cost saving. Yeah, when we satisfy the customer, of course we never leave the company business plan. That's very important. Number six is about the data enhancement. This is my advice to everyone because now it's very easy to copy a product or a feature of some solution, but it's never, you can never copy the knowledge of someone can never copy your knowledge on your old customer. So the trick is you need to do the data enhancement to have more data on your customer. What is the most value to your customer segment, right? In your company, you target in this segment. The other company target in another segment. So someone try to copy your feature might not work with their different segments. So how to know your customer? That should be based on data. Data can do through the customer review or some collection with the data tracking tool like Google Analytics, Hit Data Analytics. So there are so many tools in the world now helping you to do the data enhancement. So that should be some category like this and some priority order. So when you align the backlog, you see, hey, I do 20% for business continuity, 40% for customer satisfaction. So no one, it's a lot much easier to align on the priority of the backlog. So the next thing is will flow easily. That is the basic criteria. Now I can lead you through the next advanced variation. So after having that, maybe for example 6, 7, 5, 8, 10, whatever you can criteria, you should go back and align with your company product vision. For example, business continuity. So if you cannot sell product because your supplier or something contract will expire and you should let go some customer, so you will see that maybe your company vision is to focus on more on something else and do not wish to continue that business, right? So that is the level of the company or product vision. So you should lower the priority of the business continuity and maybe do the customer satisfaction up with, I mean, the higher priority. Yeah. Number two is to set a point to a criteria or category. For example, customer satisfaction, but not all the backlog at the same level, right? Some based on score rate of 100, for example, some backlog might be 80% impact, or the other maybe 20% the customer. So you can set some point to those category. So later you sort everything by point only. For legal, maybe you set it 200 or 300. So that make sure that it always be on top, for example. Number three, allow data to drive your decision. Data driven is now industry world practice, right? You can use some free tool like Google Analytics to tracking how your customer use your maybe your mobile application, for example. So you can see the drop rate. Hey, so this amount the customer log in, and this maybe drop to 80% of the people who do the first feature, and may drop to 50% of the people of the customer who make the successful transaction. So what happened with that 30%? Right? You make some analysis and see, hey, this would be the big priority on this stage, for example. Yep. Another high level analysis is FDV analysis. To make a decisions, must advise you this because it's a simple and it's balanced everything. FDV, we have a viability. Yeah, that is the business requirements to make sure that the backlog will have the company growth. Desirabilities, so you can translate it as what is the need of the customer, right? We also have the third one is the feasibility. So what is the solution, and do you have enough resource to do those things? You can see to the right, there should be a sweet spot of the three circle. So viability is business, desirability represent the customer's need, and feasibilities will represent the technology and operation and resource, meaning the project team, for example. Try to balance. Another example of the use of this model is viability. Okay, a legal compliant or business CFO might set some target for viability. Somehow you find that it's not feasible. So in this area, but somehow you find that desirability, the customer want it, desperately want it, maybe it's market very popular in the market feature, a very popular feature in the market. So you see it not feasibility and make it close to this. So maybe the next thing is to purchase some new solution, for example, right? Okay. When your team knows, hey, when we decide the next solution, we should consider, hey, does it satisfy the business? Does that bring some value to customer? And yes, we possible to do it. So it's a little bit more easy to reach the agreement on this sweet spot. Thumbs up. Let's go to the summary on how to achieve alignment across diverse team and culture. Throughout my presentations, I have some note here. Number one, we try to book some recurring meeting when it's before the iteration, your iteration or the sprint start. So everyone will not have a duplicate meeting. Number 2 is to review the sprint work and success metric on a very regular basis and should be in a separate meeting. The review sprint, and the success metric review sprint meaning that you see the very short term, it may be 2 weeks work. The success metric should be in review in another meeting, like hey, after we're doing this for a month, is it this we reach our goal. Number 3 is to practice more constantly, listen to your teammates' issue and make adjustment during the retrospective session. Like what I have mentioned, the very last day of the sprint or last day of the project, people feeling tired and normally feeling reluctant to do the retrospective, so you cannot learn from each other and cannot do the enhancement or work with team. So this is very important to do it constantly. The last one, now I can focus to you, is a regular sharing session. This is an important item in sprint planning. So typically a project team often do the research and the developments, maybe the go to production. That is a typical, but let's team remember to do the sharing. So number 1 is you cannot learn from each other, right? Number 2 is the team's growth is very slow. So sharing session maybe once a sprint should be in the recommendation. Thank you for your time.